everybody, and welcome in to Blue Jays Today, folks, where we're back again doing our Blue Jays Today show on the eve of a Toronto Blue Jays series win. They weren't able to bring the brooms out, and it's largely because of the man on the thumbnail, which we are going to be breaking down today, talking about, I guess, how concerned we are right now about Kevin Gausman, because recently it hasn't been good. On top of all of that, though, we are getting increasingly closer to the trade deadline. A little concerned after that Philly series. If we go down a rabbit hole, maybe we're not going to be buyers anymore. But then you come out, you do win the series against the Diamondbacks. We're feeling pretty confident that we will, in fact, be pretty heavy buyers come trade deadline. So we got to talk about that, what we could be trading off, all of the stuff. And, of course, we have a very special guest with us to help us do that. Welcome in to Scott from the Walkoff Podcast, back again. It's not it's not like a regular scheduled thing, but I'd say that, you're on enough now that, like if you wanted to put it in the Instagram bio, or like collaborate.
Yeah, that's right.
On Blue Jays
Today guest.
Okay.
It's time. It's time. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. Like once a month we got you on here, it's
I bug you guys about it. I love coming on. I'm always like, let me on. Put me in, coach.
Well, everybody, we're gonna shut it out later, but Scott's got a very big event coming up on Monday at Liberty Village for baseball.
Not Liberty Village.
Leslieville, yes.
Not Liberty Village anymore, but it's Baseball Town Tribute. We'll shout out a bit later, but we've been going to Scott's events. He's been coming to ours, so we've been creating a great relationship between the Walk-Off and Blue Jays Today. And that's what it should be. And we should be collaborating as
the two baseball podcasts out there running live events. We're the only ones, and I like it that way.
That's right.
I like it, man. Let's talk a little bit about Kevin Gausman. I see Sophie in here immediately, and I figured that she would be. Sophie, if you don't know, Scott, the biggest die-hard Kevin Gausman fan alive, man. She's got Gausman and she's got Springer, and whenever they're popping off, she lets us hear it. So when I saw Sophie coming out, tweeting at us yesterday and saying, honestly, I'm worried about Kevin Gausman, that actually made me a little scared, because whenever she's concerned about one of her two guys, it means that something might be up.
Yeah, something for sure, Scott. Let me hear your thoughts, because we got in the month of June right now. Kevin Gausman hasn't been the Kevin Gausman that we're used to in the past. He's got a 7.65 ERA in 4 games in the month of June. The whip is like closing in on 1 3/4. The batting average almost 300. Is this just a short, blip in the whole scheme of this, in the whole perspective of the season, or should we be more concerned about Kevin Gausman?
Honestly, I'm a little concerned. And I mean, maybe not in the grand scheme of things with how he's going to wind up at the end of the year. I think Kevin Gausman might be approaching the point of his career where he's a 4.25 ERA guy, and maybe a dude who's more of a number 3, number 4 than the number 2, number 1 that we have gotten used to as Toronto Blue Jays fans. The clock remains undefeated, right? And I mean, we're well aware Gauzy is 34. He's coming up on 35. He's more of a veteran at this point of his career. Is that necessarily a negative thing? Yes, for the Blue Jays, it is right now with the way that this pitching staff is constructed, right? Because he's kind of set up as that pseudo ace at the top of the staff, and that has not been what he has been. Now, can he be put in a situation to succeed more, maybe after the deadline, if the Jays do go out and bolster this starting rotation, which is something that if we are going to compete, I think is priority number 1 on the go out to get list? Yeah, I think Gausman in a situation where he's maybe lining up against the opposing team's number 4, and you're expecting him to go 2 times through the order, 2.5 times, The problem with Gausman is that they're relying on him so much to be that stopper in the staff, right? A guy like, and they've kind of been rotating between BREWHOUSE, Bassett, and Gausman as to who's going to be that guy whenever they hit a skid. One of those 3 is normally the guys who step up and stop it. And in the month of June, that just has not been Kevin Gausman taking his turn, right? So I guess to throw the question back to you, gentlemen, do we have that guy right now?
Well,
like,
well, like literally all season long, I've been saying we have three. I think we've all been saying it. We have three starters.
Yes.
Like, and a 3-starter at any given point in a year can play like an ace. For like a month and a half, 2 months, maybe. They play phenomenally. But then there's always that month and a half, 2 months where they don't play phenomenally, and that's what makes them a number 3, because then they're going to all even out. At any given point in the season, we've seen Kevin Gausman do that, play good and bad. Same with Chris Bassett. Same with Jose Abreu. There are times they're coming too. Jose Abreu is on that run right now. Forget last Sunday. But he was on that run before then where he was playing phenomenally.
And that's the only thing with this staff, guys, is like the amount of times we have to put that little, well, they've been amazing, except for that one time. So.
Right? But if they were, in a rotation with, this is obviously fantasy, but just an example here. If they were in a rotation with a Tariq Skubal, for example, it's like, okay, like these guys can play the roles perfectly. And I like what you brought up, like they're going to be matched up against other teams, 3s and 4s, let's say in a wild card series or a, ALDS or ALCS. But the fact of the matter is the Blue Jays, if they do go to the postseason and you do have just these 3 guys, and let's say you don't get a guy at the trade deadline that is obviously better than all these guys, right? Because there isn't a lot many out there.
No.
Then you're going to be facing game 1. Like, who do you pitch game 1? Well, obviously, I would have a better decision by, September. But you're basically throwing out your 3 against, God forbid, a Tariq Skubal, and, you're pretty much game. It's pretty much game over.
Well, and look, and that's the issue, right? For me, you're bringing up, Fantasyland. It would all be fine if we had a Cy Young like that guy. Yeah. And of course, that would be great. We don't. And right now,
neither do 20 other teams.
Neither do 20 other teams, right? There's a lot of squads that don't, but those 10 that do, they will be in the playoffs, right? And right now, a month ago, 2 months ago, I wasn't even really thinking about, success when you make it to the playoffs. Now that this team's actually playing decent ball, I'm thinking, okay, let's get there and let's actually win a fucking game this time.
Yeah, let's not get swept in the wild card. I'm with you, Nick.
Exactly, right? It's like, if we're going to do this, let's actually do it and at least put 1 in the win column. And I do look over at those starters, and I am concerned because in a wild card series, which the Toronto Blue Jays would most likely be in, you would be up against the number 1 and the number 2 of the opposing team staff. And when I look at around the American League and I look at our guys, who is the one here?
There's
who
one.
actually see,
and we all, I know that all 3 of us say this with the utmost respect to BREWHOUSE, Bassett, and Gausman. Honestly,
of course,
it's not like a negative on their skill set. It's just where they're at right now in their careers and what their max is in production. And I don't think they have that number 1 in them. Even maybe you get a number 1 game out of them once and it's luck and you're crossing your fingers. We've watched Bassett, the Hound Dog's done it. We've watched BREWHOUSE be that guy. We've watched Gausman be that dude. But can you count on it? No. Can the Tigers count on Skubal? Every single time. Every single time. And I'm not saying we need a Skubal because there's only one of them. But,
No, for sure. And I think come trade deadline, or not trade deadline, come postseason, the number 1 on, if we do make it to playoffs is going to be whoever's been the hottest in the last month.
Yes.
That's exactly who it's going to be. Because, when I look around at the, the trade market right now, unless a team sells unexpectedly out of nowhere, like a Paul Skeens shocker, which, I didn't think Rafael Devers was going to get traded. So I could say the same thing about Paul Skeens. Like, oh, shocker, all of a sudden he got traded. Unless that happens, there really isn't a legit dude that could change the entire face rotation. Sure, there's some guys out there, maybe the Milwaukee Brewers pull off a shocker and trade Freddie Peralta. But it's that's awesome. Clearly that might be your number 1 in this. Actually, that would be your number 1 in this rotation.
Yeah.
But there isn't a whole lot of guys that could surpass and make this rotation better. So with that being said, Blue Jays just kind of gotta hope somebody figures it out and keeps it consistent down the line, because it is becoming an issue for me.
Go out and add another number 3 in the trade deadline, and then just hope that one of those 4 number 3s is actually. And if Scherzer's there, then 5 number 3s.
Yes, and ultimately, that's probably what is going to happen here. Is they are going to go out and they're going to get somebody that is, good, definitely a good player, but he's going to have those outings where, it is 7 earned runs in whatever. And in fact, actually, one of the guys that I was really excited about or looking at, thinking that it could be very realistic, was Andrew Heaney over there in the Pittsburgh Pirates. He just got blown up for 7 runs against Detroit.
That's
right?
number 3 right there.
Yeah, that's right in with our rotation. Yes.
Exactly. Like, that's a Toronto Blue Jay right there. Somebody actually, I don't want to get too far off topic here. Somebody actually brought this up to us when we were doing interviews outside Rogers Center the other day.
Oh, yeah.
They brought up Jacob deGrom over there on Texas. Now, keep in mind, this is somebody that's a free agent, in 2028. So there's still, time on that contract, meaning that Texas may not be willing to move on from him if they're still feeling that they're competitive. But
I like where you're going.
Exactly. Like, this is, if you actually want to be genuinely, like, if you want to make it to the wild card and seriously put up some numbers and maybe actually pick up a win, I think you need to go out and you need to try to at least shoot a shot on somebody like this where when he's on the field, we know what we're going to get, and it is going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, Nick, I love this idea, dude, because this is a guy who still is owed a ton of money by the Rangers, a Rangers team that is already heavy with their payroll. This is a guy who is injured regularly, and so we're kind of in a window right now where he is healthy, and maybe this is the only window the Texas Rangers get to move this contract off.
Yep.
They are a team that has a very heavy contract in Marcus Semien, an aging player who there's probably no way they get out from under. They're kind of in a similar boat with Corey Seager. Now, Corey Seager obviously still has more in the tank as he's, I think, about 30 right now. But you know what? This is an aging group of guys and a lot of high contracts that you could see the Rangers maybe wanting to, move what they can and try again because they're a bad team right now. Love it, Nick. Hell yeah. I hadn't even thought of this.
Yeah, I know. Like that when the guy brought it up, like I think I was the one interviewing. I remember I was like, oh my God, could you imagine deGrom and Scherzer?
Oh, baby.
In the playoffs? What year are we in? If we were in like 2019, 2018, we're like, wow, like we're stacked. But I'm not opposed to it. There is 2 more years left on the deal. You got to hope he stays healthy. And now if he gets hurt, all like the Max Scherzer already haters are going to double down and hate this one even more. But whatever. We spend lots of money, right? So who cares?
And look, ultimately, for me, they actually have a chance right now to go to the playoffs and to maybe even win a game. And I just think that if you're like Ross Atkins, I still think that he is fighting for his job here.
He better be.
That's something that's happening, right? And you got to make the playoffs. But even if he makes the playoffs, and after paying Vladdy $500 and all this shit, and if he gets swept again,
oh, you're done.
That's 4 times in this era where you got your ass whooped even after making the postseason. So, if you want to hold on to your job, and if you want to prove to me and you want to prove to everybody that you are seriously committed here about going and making a run with this organization and this team, I do think it requires getting somebody like deGrom, because to bring it back to the whole Kevin Gausman thing, I am relatively worried because that was the one dude who I was really hoping and really thinking maybe could have been the number 1 here on the Toronto Blue Jays. And now as the season's going on, I still like him. I still think he'll be fine. But it's becoming increasingly clear to me that he is just not that guy anymore. And there are going to be times, especially in a game where he's matched up against a good offense and maybe even their number 1 pitcher, where it's just not going to be there for him.
No.
This is really interesting. And one other thing to maybe keep in mind when you look at a guy like Jacob deGrom with such a hefty price tag attached to him is look at what the Boston Red Sox just got for one of the premier hitting talents in all of baseball.
Yeah.
28-year-old Rafi Devers was literally traded for Jordan Hicks, basically a couple of lottery tickets. So, like, if you're prepared to take on the money, then you might not need to give up very much, right? Like, this is a Toronto Blue Jays team that could probably add a top-of-the-rotation guy and give up a few lottery tickets of their own and maybe not even need to touch anyone off this 26-man roster. I love this idea. I don't know if it's at all possible or where Texas is in the whole way they're viewing the next few years, right? Like maybe they do want to hold on to him and double down and try again next year. but maybe they'd like to retool. Maybe coming up to this CBA and the shutdown that's going on, and if they lose a year with Jacob deGrom, like that's just that's just it. Like he's kind of on the back end of his career as well. Whoever brought this up, I love it, and thank you for sharing, because I'm pumped about this. I'm like, shit, maybe this is something we could do.
Why not? Let's get excited. I know there's people in the chat that aren't really excited about it, and it's probably not.
It's a long shot,
but there is a realm of possibility. Like I just said, didn't think Devers would happen. It happened.
Can you tell that we've become a big market fan base, where I'm like, spend more money. We're number 5 in payroll. We can be number 4. No biggie.
Remember when the conversations happened where everyone was like, the Blue Jays don't spend money. They don't sign anybody. Bro, I haven't heard that in years. Like, that conversation's dead, man. Top 5 payroll. We're elite. Speaking of a guy who's also contributing to that payroll and who's old and who's a pitcher, quick notes, Max Scherzer, he is expected to join the Blue Jays soon. He actually was in the dugout yesterday. His thumb was sore, everybody, but he is going to throw a bullpen session this weekend, and the possible start is next Tuesday. Quick thoughts on Max Scherzer to kind of wrap up the whole starting pitcher stuff. What are your expectations for this guy with a sore thumb?
I think he's going to be competitive. I think he's going to go out and give it his all. I think this is going to be an injury he's dealing with for the rest of the season. It's going to require rest and some shutdowns here and there. That said, having Max Scherzer come out when he can and give you 5 innings and give you a competitive outing, I think that's fantastic. And can he be more competitive than Bowden Francis has been? I truly do believe that he can. Does he give us a little bit more depth and a little bit more breathing room as we approach the trade deadline? He absolutely does. I think it's just good news that Mad Max is back. Can we expect him to be our ace? I think that would be buying into fool's gold, but can he contribute in a meaningful way? I do believe he can. Now, is it going to be frustrating, guys? It is, because he will get shut down again. He is going. We are going to constantly hear about his sore thumb. We are,
it definitely will happen. Now, speaking of the IL, Adam and I are pretty convinced that that the whole Bowden Francis one was a little phantom, little something. Are you kind of on the same page there, or do you think that he's actually was dealing with something? Maybe that's why it wasn't working.
I tend to lean a little bit more towards you two. I just feel like it's interesting timing for this to come out, and also to hear there's no, just the way they framed it, no structural damage.
No damage, but he's been dealing with it for like 3 days or 3 starts.
3 starts, but we'd never heard about it before this.
And maybe he has been sore. Listen, 162 game season, you're always going to deal with bumps and bruises, with strains.
I'm sore right now. I don't even play baseball.
Yeah, exactly. Me too, buddy. Just that's the but yeah, I do think that this might be the best move for him. Give him a little bit of time away from baseball, away from actually thinking about it. Maybe he can just reset mentally, because that's what this is, in my opinion. I really do think that he's in. I don't know if you guys are too young for the Replacements back in the day with Keanu Reeves. And there's a moment in that where he talks about quicksand is his greatest fear. And the whole idea of that is that you get in a losing streak, or you're struggling, and you just try harder to get out, and all that happens is you wind up sinking further into it, right? So that feels like where Bowden's at right now, is that he's given it everything he's got. He's doing everything he can. He's trying to adjust, and everything he's doing just isn't working, and he's sinking further into it. And maybe the best thing for this is to literally just remove him from his own mind right now and let him kind of reset, and fingers crossed that he's at least competitive again when he's on the mound.
I was saying the same thing about Anthony Santander. They're different because he was hurt, but he was dealing with it mentally too. And I'm like, man, we just need to get a reset. We need to not struggle.
Yes.
Allow ourselves to breathe in the quicksand and refocus our energy in a different way of getting out. So yeah, I'm with you. Lots of stuff with the rotation going on, but man, do I hope a move happens soon. And that's exactly what Shai Davidi's talking about, because we've talked about on this show before. I don't know if we discussed it on here or off camera or at Amsterdam Brewhouse. We talked about how, yeah, the Blue Jays, they got an outfield surplus right now. And Shai Davidi came out here and talked about that outfield surplus on a recent article. If you want to go check it out, guys, it's on sportsnet.ca. But he goes in, he dives in deep. But let's dive in deep ourselves. Where do you see the Blue Jays potentially tapping in? Like, who do you think they can kind of move around on this 26-man roster, maybe ship off to get maybe a starting pitcher or some other sort of help?
We talked about this, Adam, on Baseball Town last week is what it was. And yes, I do think that there's a few guys that we could see them try to maximize their value for, right? I know that Nathan Lucas was brought up. This is a dude who hits above average. He's an above average hitter. Yeah, he's 31 years old or coming up on it right away here. But this is a guy that most clubs would, especially if you're in that bottom 10 of the 30 teams, payroll wise, right? He's a great deal, right? He's got some experience. He's been around the horn, and he's a dude who, when you look at his OPS plus, it's above 100. So he's going to be a guy that you can slot into that number 7 or 8 spot in the lineup, just like the Jays have been doing. And he's going to give you production. He's going to get on base. He's going to give you some hits when you need him. And there is value in that. Do I think that Nathan Lucas is going to be a dude that they get a big piece for? No, but he might be a nice add-on to move the needle a little bit more towards getting a guy that is going to be a big addition, right?
Yeah.
Jonathan Clase is a really interesting case. Of course, he's the guy they got out of Seattle last year for Jimmy Garcia at the deadline, and he has made some major progress. He's still very raw, and there might be some teams that look at him and the value is there's going to be discrepancy team to team as to how much value people see in him, right? But, he's been very good defensively. Speed is through the roof.
Yeah.
And to watch him start to come up with some timely hits, right? We have seen him drive some runs in when they needed it most at the bottom of that order, and there's always value in that. You look at a guy right now like Will Robertson that was just called up. This dude, Baseball America, I don't know if you boys saw this. They are in love with Will Robertson,
Really,
which is a rare thing to see out of a 27-year-old prospect. They even kind of framed it as like, this is probably the most hype you're going to see us ever give a 27-year-old prospect. But in the last year, his launch angle has increased almost 10%, and his exit velo is increased 5 miles an hour off the bat. He's almost regularly hitting 95 miles plus. And you know what? A lefty bat like that, they think the power is legitimate. So is there another organization that maybe sees the same sort of thing out of him? That is, again, are any of these guys max value guys? No, but they're the dudes that you can maybe pile 1 or 2 or 3 of them on top of each other. And that is going to allow you to not give up a Trey Savage or an Arjun Namala, right?
Yeah, of course. And I mean, you brought it up earlier, right? I mean, if the guy, whoever it is that we're trading for, if there is some type of money attached, then their value immediately diminishes, like we saw with the Rafael Devers trade, right? I mean, we were kind of doing some mental gymnastics to figure out, well, what would be the comparison, for the Toronto Blue Jays? And it felt like the Rafael or the Boston Red Sox basically gave up Yusei Kikuchi when he was in his first year of his deal, wasn't playing very good, still had money attached. Then, one of the top prospects in that, what was his name?
Harrison,
23-year-old pitcher. And then, 2 complete dart throws, and they ended up with, one of the best hitters in all of baseball. Yeah. So, you're right. Somebody might look at Clase. Somebody might look at Robertson. An organization might be thinking what Baseball America is thinking and going, okay, hey, we are willing to throw a dart here and give up somebody that is proven, but will ultimately be costing us X amount of millions of dollars for the next year or two, to get these cheap dart throws.
Well, I got a little example right here. Andres Jimenez for Spencer Horwitz.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that was just a 1-for-1. That was it. And again, Spencer Horwitz had lots of, time left.
Sure.
And he actually was doing decent. That's the one thing I think is missing out of these younger outfield prospects, like the Clases, like the Rodens, is that they're not performing as well, as like an average to an above average, other than Nathan Lucas, but he's got age against him.
Yes.
Like they're not performing to that level. So yeah, you're right. They'll probably have to like stack on another piece in that trade, whether it be a pitcher somewhere in their system or what have you. But I'll throw in Alan Roden as well. I made a video talking about him, how he might be the most intriguing because of his advanced metrics too on the side. He hasn't shown it, but he's got lots of prospect capital there. So there's a lot of ways to go about it.
I think that's how this will go, gentlemen, right? Is it'll be dependent on who other organizations value, because I think there's probably half a dozen dudes that the Blue Jays would be all right with giving up, and they're going to kind of be like, here are the guys that we're prepared to move. Who do you see the most value in? Who do you as an organization want? And then kind of build a trade deal from there.
And
it's going to be interesting,
though. It's like they do have pieces that they can actually give up without completely depleting the farm system, which is something that we haven't seen before. And I know that, you know, my whole argument was met with a very poor reception, but I still hold by that, you know, Ernie Clement could be one of those individuals that maybe even holds a higher value to all of that. And look, if Ernie Clement
Nick, people hate when you suggest giving up value to get value.
I know they do. I know. Listen, we just want to fleece everybody here. But look, if trading Ernie Clement is the difference between getting somebody like a Freddie Peralta or not, then you know, like, that's something that I'd be willing to do, because I want that fucking playoff win for crying out loud. Seriously,
give me a playoff win for the love of all that is holy. You know,
like, because again, like we talked about, I don't know if we can get a playoff win, especially if we go to the wild card. Like, we might be up against two very tough starting pitching. We don't know who. And we're cooked.
That's like, honestly, that is where it comes down to for me. It's like, I need to see somebody be able to, let's just say, I don't know if they will, but, you know, if Boston, for instance, was to, because they're only a couple games out of the wild card, they make it into the wild card. Well, now we're up against Garrett Crochet, and we are going to lose if we are rolling out Chris Bassett against Garrett Crochet, and that's no disrespect to Chris Bassett.
No,
but like, we are just gonna lose. So,
and this is where, if you're going to need to win a 3-2 game, they need a pitcher.
Right.
Yep. They absolutely do, man.
Now, before we move on, because I know you wanted to move on, but I did want to ask you very quickly, since we're on the trade topic, it's all been pitchers, it's all been starters, everything. Do they need a bat at all? Or can we kind of punt that for maybe the first year in many years and just ignore that almost outright?
I think that they need to bolster where they can. So if the opportunity arises to get a bat at a reasonable cost, I think it is within the best interest of this team to do so. Now, do they need to go out there and make a deal no matter what? No, they don't. I do think offensively they, are better set than maybe we thought they were in April. Definitely. I know the emergence of Addison Barger has sure been nice. Nathan Lucas being such a solid piece has been so great to see. Just even Andre Jimenez coming back and being in that 9 hole instead of the cleanup spot and doing his thing, right? Yeah. Like he's still going to steal. He missed almost a month. He's still going to steal 30 bases for this team. He is so good when it comes to the base path and running and the defensive end of the game. And you know what? You look at his OPS, it's slowly climbing up there, gentlemen. He's not that Bonacola offense that everyone was kind of pinning on him. And I've been saying this since they went out and got Jimenez, that if he can be a league average bat, this is a great deal. And I know that everyone gets upset about his price tag. And I know that we had a mailbag comment on the walk-off here on Tuesday where they kind of broke it down, and they're like, they're paying $21 million a year for this guy over his time with the Blue Jays. And that's true. But that's not how his contract works, right? His contract works. We inherited the AAV that the Cleveland Guardians had, which was $15 million AAV. And yes, I know that the actual money they're paying is more, but we're a big market franchise, boys. Who gives a shit about the money they're spending right now? And I say that fully aware that most people my age have PTSD and think about the 2000 Jays all the time and the rug getting pulled out from under us and the salary going back down to a more reasonable level. And that is scary. But right now they're spending money. They're spending to make up for their mistakes.
Yep.
Spending on glove first guys. It's not how I would build a team, but if they win, I don't give a crap.
Exactly. End of the day,
I will happily spend all of Daddy Shapiro's money and feel very comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Like listen, like we want to win ball games.
Like it's not ideal, but fine, right?
Yeah. Inevitably filling seats and getting to the playoffs will make the money back. I also want to throw in there too, we're going to have Anthony Santander and Dalton Varsho come back. And when you think about that entire guys that you're fielding, the 8 guys out there, you're going to have Santander, Barger, Dalton Varsho in the outfield. Then you've got Ernie Clement, Jimenez, Bo Bichette, Vladdy in the infield, Kirk behind home plate. What do you do?
It looks like a long lineup, right? That's a long batting lineup. I love it, man.
Yeah, it's long, it's thick. Unless you trade Ernie Clement for Eugenio Suarez, then that's really the only upgrade.
You could also be totally for, by the way, and I love Ernie.
Yeah. Oh God, that lineup would be gross.
Bring me Eugenio Suarez, please.
Yeah, I agree, man. Hey, quick shout out here to Willard Talcree saying, do you guys think Ross has already started the dialogue with other GMs regarding possible trades? We kind of talked about it before. If he hasn't, he's not doing his job.
Well, we know that he has, because apparently they were on the phone for Rafi Devers prior to that happening. Very quickly, I do want to move on here, but did you hear the rumored Jose Barrios for Rafi Devers? Did you hear about that, Scott? What were your thoughts on that?
I think that it made total sense. If I'm the Boston Red Sox and I'm shopping my best player, I don't particularly wish to move them within the division unless it's going to truly bolster my lineup. And so I think that was the trade-off. That was the tax. The Blue Jays tax was you give us your best pitcher and we'll give you our best hitter. And I don't think that the Blue Jays are in a position starting pitching depth-wise to do that. And I think that's why they walked away. I think it's cool that they looked into it, right? It does mean the Blue Jays are prepared to take on another $300 million contract.
Yeah, that's exciting, actually.
I love it.
And listen, would it have hurt us for this season losing Barrios? Absolutely. We'd be screwed. We'd be struggling. But the next season, after we spend a lot of money getting free agent starting pitchers, we'll be set. So
honestly, for
this
me,
bottomless well of money.
Exactly.
It's great.
Look, if we have the infinite money glitch, then all of this is fine. For me, I know why they didn't make that deal. I just think it would have been so sexy to see Rafael Devers bat either in front of or behind Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for the next decade of time. And I can't get that mental image out of my head, even though it'll never happen now. But damn, that would have been fucking cool.
Would have been nice. Let's give a quick shout out here to Amsterdam Brewhouse, everybody. We're actually doing a little event on Amsterdam Brewhouse this next Tuesday in 4 days. So, guys, in the description down below is the open table reservation for Amsterdam Brewhouse. Click on that if you want to come hang out with us 3 right here. We're going to be having some drinks, eating some food, watching the Blue Jays, doing a little podcast beforehand, and we're going to be hopefully watching Max Scherzer pitch against the Guardians. So that'll be awesome. If you want to come down, win some prizes, get some merch, then come to Amsterdam Brewhouse, just 5 minutes away from the Rogers Center.
Yeah, and if you can't make it on Tuesday, then there is actually another event happening on Monday as well. Scott,
yes,
that very quickly.
Absolutely. So Left Field Brewing, and that is the Leslieville location. So on the East End there. And this is something that you boys participated in last time when we did it at the Liberty Village location. But Blue Jays trivia. So it's Baseball Town Trivia Night. It's $10 to get in. However, the prizes are great. Left Field's giving away all sorts of beer. So if you're a big Blue Jays know-it-all and you like beer, this is definitely an event for you. Monday is an off night, by the way. So we will I know how hardcore all of us are right now. I mean, everyone in the chat right now is literally listening to us 3 bozos talk Blue Jays at 12:35 on a Friday.
It always blows my mind, man. I still can't get
We know who the hardcores are. Exactly. So if you're going to be going through withdrawals of Blue Jays on Monday, Leslieville Left Field, come hang out. 7:00. You got prizes to win, and the 3 of us should be hanging out there and talking Blue Jays and going through the withdrawals together.
All right, Trivia Monday and in Leslieville, drinking in Amsterdam on Tuesday. We got a week planned, folks. Let's transition very quickly and just kind of recap what did transpire in that past series. 2 wins, 1 loss. Just overall thoughts there, Scott?
They did what they had to do. Coming off of that sweep of Philadelphia, that was definitely a hit to the ego after going on such a run beforehand. But you know what? The best teams in baseball, this happens to. And they ran into some really tough pitching in Philadelphia, and to come home for a homestand and especially with the White Sox, the team that they're playing right now, you really wanted to see them take 2 or 3 against the D-backs, and they did it. And they not only did they do it, they did it in a big offensive fashion, which you love to see. So I know yesterday's game was a bit of a stinker, but truly they made it closer than I even thought they would when they were down so much. You know, I think it ended 9-5 or whatever it was. So like, you know what? The boys are scoring. You love to see it. You're continuing to see Addison Barger stay hot, which is so important right now. Love the new lineup with him in the 2-hole. I will say it drives me nuts, gentlemen, that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. can't hit in the 2-hole. It makes no sense. It's talk about mental, right? Like it's just
he needs to maybe see how the pitcher's attacking the first 2 guys.
It's so weird,
right? It's weird, but hey, you know what? Whatever works, it works. And I'm actually making a video about Addison Barger coming out tomorrow. I absolutely am with you, Scott. The Addison Barger 2-hole is the lefty power bat they've been missing for decades. You know, that lefty right there in the 2 spot that can drive in runs. And honestly, the Tuesday game when we were actually live for, where you get the walk-off homer, that showed me that's another great example of what this team is made of. They're never out of a game. I think it's their 5th walk-off this season. Crazy.
And just, you know, picture you don't have Addison Barger there. Obviously, we don't know what would have transpired. But this series, you know, instead of talking about a series win, you don't have Addison Barger there. We might very legitimately be talking about not only we got swept on the weekend by Philly, but then you know, we come back home and we lose the series to the Diamondbacks, and now it's a completely different conversation. So, I mean, having that guy here has quite literally changed. I mean, I hate to use this term, but like he's actually changed everything for the Jays. Having him break.
The emergence of Addison Barger has done something that no one saw coming, which was make this as an incredibly deep and balanced lineup. And once some of these guys start coming off the IL, think about how balanced this line. It might be the most balanced lineup they've had in literally 2 decades, because you go Bo Bichette right-handed right off the top. You go Addison Barger lefty. You go Vladdy righty. You go Anthony Santander switch hitter. You go Kirky righty. You go Varsho lefty. You go Ernie righty. Like,
we were forgetting about Springer. Where's Springer?
And Springer's hitting in the 8-hole. Like, think how deep that is, right? Like, it's just so incredible that this is where this team has started to kind of meld into, and I just hook it to my veins, you know? Like, it's beautiful.
Oh, it's amazing. You know what? I can't wait to watch more of Barger. I mentioned that in my video. Like, it's just, you know, 6 more years of just the most entertaining baseball player I've seen in a long time.
And really too bad that he's not eligible for Rookie of the Year. That the whole system for Rookie of the Year in baseball pisses me off to no end. I would have loved for that guy to, and he probably wouldn't have won it because Jacob Wilson's going crazy in Oakland.
Right,
Still, I mean, you know, the guy should have got a nod, but either way, phenomenal stuff.
Absolutely. Hey, Scott, thank you so much for coming on to the show today.
Gentlemen, thanks for having me.
Always love it, Scott, when you come on and we can just chat ball, and it's always longer than we expect. I'm like, oh my God, we're almost at the 40-minute mark. That's
I know. I talk too much, but honestly, gentlemen, I appreciate you guys so much, and I'm excited about Monday with trivia at left field. I'm excited about Tuesday and having some beers and watching the ball game at Amsterdam. Always a pleasure, and have a great weekend, guys.
You too, Scott. Cheers, man. All right, guys, that was Scott from the Walkoff Podcast. Go check it out. YouTube, the Walkoff Podcast. They post a lot there. And, of course, like he mentioned, they do a lot of great events, too, including Baseball Town. And Baseball
I
Town
actually
Trivia.
put the link to his channel in the chat because somebody was asking about it. So you can go hit that and just bang, you are right there.
Hell yeah, man.
There was a cool stat that you brought up to me prior to hitting the record button. We've been getting on Vlad. We've been getting on Bo, and rightfully so, because, I mean, ultimately, are they playing to their ceiling? No, they are not. And I would argue that they might even be closer to their floor, maybe Bo Bichette especially, you know, than their ceiling. But that being said, when runners are in scoring position, they're actually kind of badass, dude. Looking over at the American League, obviously Aaron Judge, he's the guy. Even after he's cooled off, he's still leading by a wide margin. And then Byron Buxton, who, by the way, you should buy off me in my fantasy league. I got to sell that guy. But he's been playing really good. But then you got Bo Bichette, and then you got Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and they are the third and fourth best hitters in the American League when it comes to hitting with runners in scoring position. That's where you want your guys to be in the clutchest moments.
Yeah, I just want to highlight that because it's like, look, that's been a problem for so long, and these are our two best guys, and they're doing it the best. And I mean, hell, like I know you said that they're playing on their floors, but Vladdy's been actually heating up lately.
In the last little bit, he has.
In the month of June, he has a 900 OPS, and they were talking on the broadcast, and I agree with them. Like, we're starting to see that Vladdy, that version of Vladdy that we were missing. And what we saw last year, right? Around this time as well, in June, Vladdy started to heat up and started to get cooking. We saw that in this series when he hit that home run. He launched it, and he hit that double down the line. Yes, it was an off-speed pitch, but he pulled it down the line, kept his hands inside. We're starting to see Vladdy break out, Bo flashing the power this series with 2 home runs. I think the boys are cooking. And the boys are here to produce, and I think they're going to keep producing against these White Sox, Nick.
Well, speaking of Sophie in the chat asking, what are your expectations for Turnbull tonight? Let's get into tonight's game, everybody. It is the Chicago White Sox, which we are going to be live for this evening. So you want to come watch some baseball with us. We're going to be hanging out, maybe drinking a couple bevies, enjoying some baseball in what is hopefully going to be a win for the Toronto Blue Jays. It's the White Sox. Come on, lads. I know we got our asses whooped yesterday, but this is a bad baseball team. Now, Davis Martin is actually a decent pitcher. Like this kind of looks like our ace right now in terms of the ERA and everything. Like that's kind of how our aces are playing. That being said, though, still somebody that could definitely be handled by this Toronto Blue Jays lineup. He's got a 3.79 ERA, so really nothing to write home about. And on the bump for the Toronto Blue Jays, you got Spencer Turnbull. Now, I don't know how long he's going to be able to go. Probably not a crazy amount, but it's going to be Turnbull followed by someone,
Rod, and probably the guy they brought up too. I actually don't even know his name. He's like our 26th man.
It will most likely depend on, as well, how Turnbull does, who you're going to see after him and everything like that. Because if they do, if he does explode, then obviously that changes things. I don't think that's going to happen, though, because let's face it, Chicago sucks. Blue Jays don't suck. Let's give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video before we give our predictions.
Whoa, time for a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code down below to join the action. Only available in Ontario. Must be 19 years of older to participate. Please play responsibly. Now, everyone, back to the content.
Out to Betway, everybody. Here are the betting lines for tonight's game. Blue Jays heavily favorited. All right. 1.52 multiplier to the 2.6 of the Chicago White Sox. And I don't even think that's enough. Like, I would not be willing to take that on. I'm just not willing to take that line for the White Sox because I just do believe 80% of the time the Blue Jays are going to win this ball game.
I do think they got a great chance to win this ball game. Now, I will give some credit to Davis right here. What's his name? Davis Martin, who I'm learning about right now. In his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 starts, he's had a quality start in, I think, 4 of his last 6 starts. So he'll give you 6 or 7 innings from the White Sox perspective. The Blue Jays need to be able to get on him, though, and they need to be able to scrap in some runs. Actually, the key to the game here is not even just the offense. We know the offense can do it. It needs to be the pitching. How long is Spencer Turnbull going to go? Well, in AAA, he was giving you 4, maybe 5 innings of work. So I expect around that 75 pitch mark, that 80 pitch mark for Spencer Turnbull. And then after that, literally what the chat's saying right here, the guy we just called up, Justin Brewhill, don't even know how to say his name. He's probably going to have to come in at some point. Honestly, I do think the Blue Jays are going to win. It's going to be a lot closer than you imagine. I'm going to say it's going to be a 5-3 ball game, guys.
Disagree wholeheartedly. I don't think this is going to be close at all. Yeah, Davis has been fine, but like you look at a lot of those teams there's Seattle in there. There's multiple other teams that like typically
Houston,
don't have it. Kansas City's not a good offense. Baltimore's not a good offense. Texas is a bad offense. Toronto Blue Jays, they have a good offense this year. I think they put up a lot of runs. And I think the White Sox offense, that's a beautiful thing, okay? Spencer Turnbull is going up against the White Sox offense, and that offense is terrible. So I think Blue Jays win this ball game a solid 6-1. But if you want to come, tune in tonight, everybody. We will be live for that game this evening, 7 o'clock. So we hope to see all of you there. Moving on to game number 2.
That's not game 2.
That's not game 2.
Dude, with this program, everybody, it takes about 15 seconds to go pull up the game. Yeah, it kind of sucks. But game 2, you've got Jose BREWHOUSE up against loading Savali, who might be a trade candidate at the deadline. He's probably going to get chopped around somewhere. He's going up against Jose BREWHOUSE. This one for me is a lot more clear. Yeah, BREWHOUSE had a bad start on Sunday, but Aaron Savali, not the guy he used to be. It's the White Sox. Smash the win on this one. The odds are going to be ridiculous. The Blue Jays will win this one like 9-1 and have an absolute pounding of the White Sox.
Ultimately, it just comes down to the fact that I really, truly believe the Chicago White Sox, their offense is terrible. And I mean, all the stats back it up. They are 30th in batting average, 30th in OPS, 28th in runs scored. Yeah, our pitchers are number 3s. We have determined that. They're number 3s. And number 3s dominate against terrible offenses. This is a horrendous offense. Blue Jays win tomorrow as well, very handily, because I just honestly expect a series where the White Sox maybe score 5 total runs. The whole series.
Very well could be. I mean, we got the pitchers to do it, right? Like, we actually got pretty good. Other than today. Today's the big question mark, but you know, if we can get, again, 5 innings at a Turnbull, we should be fine. Let's give a quick shout out here to Daniela Castro with a dono saying, working tonight, going to miss the game and stream. Oh, sorry, Daniela. My prediction for the game is 10-2 Blue Jays W. Now, that would be awesome over a couple beers. That would be absolutely great. So shout out to you. Thank you for the dono. Let's get to the last game in this series. I think this is it right here. No, it's still not it. We got Chris Bassett going up in game 3, everybody, up against their Thibodeau. This one's an easy. Who the hell are they going to pitch? It's not like they've. You know what's funny? The whole TBD games for the Blue Jays, we can replace that now with that's Eric Lauer starts. We know why they were doing so good. Eric Lauer's a gem, but they don't got no Eric Lauer on the staff. This is another easy 11-2 victory. Blue Jays are going to sweep them this weekend.
Blue Jays are going to sweep them. I mean, the White Sox are 23-52, folks. Like.
Yeah,
what else do we? That's what I mean.
Game,
like,
what teams are they beating right now?
Yeah,
like I don't know.
No one. You know, so like ultimately, yeah, we can go through all the analysis and look at all their, their splits against, righties and lefties and whatever. None of it matters because they're 23 and they're 52. And if you lose to the White Sox, we have a serious conversation on Monday. Yeah, that's not going to happen, though.
We honestly, it'd be a very big disappointment to only win 2 in this series.
I know, yeah.
Very big. I
would be disappointed if they only won 2, and I would be thoroughly frustrated is not the right word. Like, yeah, like, just fucking angry on Monday morning if they were to lose a series to the Chicago White Sox, which I just truly believe will not happen.
I really don't think it's going to happen, guys. No. They're at home. It's a Rogers Center. The Blue Jays smoke pitchers, at the Rogers Center. They're going to be fine. But, guys, that's the prediction right there. And if that happens, they'll be 43-34. I'll bring it up for y'all to see. And look, we're in a division race. I'm no longer looking at wild card. Hey, we're firmly set in the wild card because when we look at it, look at the wild card standings. We're 2 games above, or 2.5, over the Guardians.
And we will be playing the Guardians.
That's going to be a big series.
Should be fun, yeah.
And we should handle business. We have to handle business against them. But I'm looking at the regular season AL East standings right here. 2 or 3 games, back from the Yankees. Let's go kick some ass and determine our own destiny by controlling the W's.
Yeah, and I mean, look, ultimately the Yankees, like they are a better ball team than us, but they are proving right now that when Aaron Judge isn't, actually God, they are a very human ball team, right? And they need Aaron Judge to be the Barry Bonds that he's been playing at, for majority of the season. Because when he goes ice cold, like that entire lineup just completely falls to bits. So yeah, they're human and they are beatable.
Yeah, like who are they even facing this weekend? That's what I love about mid-June. And we're in a playoff race. We can start looking at a little bit of scoreboard watching. We got us up against the White Sox. Who do they got going this weekend? The Yankees are gonna be faced Tampa Bay against the Tigers. That should be exciting because we need the Tigers to beat Tampa Bay.
Yeah, just be the best team in baseball, Tigers.
Okay, Yankees are up against the Orioles. So let's go O's.
Okay.
Don't blow 8-run leads. Let's go. Sure. All right. I don't think we have time for questions. I think we kind of ran out of time in that regard.
You can blame Scott, everyone.
Blame Scott, everyone. But if you guys want to submit your questions, go down below. We'll get to it as soon as possible, probably for next Friday. So we hope we can get to a few of those. If you want to go submit it, click it down below.
Yeah, please make sure to hit that like button, smash the subscribe button. We'll be live later tonight, like we said. Monday, cool trivia in Leslieville. Tuesday, cool hangout at Amsterdam Brewhouse. So hopefully we're going to see all you guys there.
Guys, thank you so much for watching.
As always,
Go Jays, go!